Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video I'm going to take you through a secondary source because I've started with the information sources. In the previous videos I've explained about the primary sources. So my next video, which is the secondary sources, I'm explaining the secondary sources. So let's try to look at the characteristic of the secondary sources. Like secondary sources, its characteristic is like the interpretive, evaluative, summary, and the contextual. What do it mean? Like the interpretative, like it means like the secondary source involve some level of analysis and synthesis or evaluations of the primary sources. They explain or they critique the primary source or the event that it represents. Like they help us to analyze the primary sources. What is evaluative? Evaluative means the offered opinions or the assessment based on the evidence that may be drawn from the primary sources. And also they summarize secondary sources. Secondary sources summarizing informations often to explain the concept or to connect various primary sources. What of contextuals? Contextual means secondary sources help to frame or contextualize the primary data within a broader trends like the movements or histories. Let's look at the example of secondary sources. Examples of secondary sources are the journal articles, books, documentary, encyclopedias, essays, and reviews. Some people don't understand journal articles, but let me break it for you people. Journal articles mean like the articles that critiques or analyze primary data, such as research papers and analyzing the results of scientific experiments, and lectures reviews summarizing the previous research on the topics. Those are example of journal articles. Like even the books that I'm talking of, like the history books which analyze a specific historical period or events, like maybe the books discussing the course of World War II or the course of World War III or World War I. Those are the books that I'm meaning. And the documentary meaning like the films or the videos that tell the story of the historical events or the individuals based on the archival materials or the interviews. Then encyclopedias means the entires in the encyclopedias that summarizes well established knowledge or events based on the secondary research. That is it. And essay and review means like the critical essays that provide the analysis of literary works or historical events, often building upon every text, like every primary text, and movies or books review that interpret the context of the works. And let us go to the purpose and we check on the purpose of the secondary sources, because some people might be interested in knowing also. When we look at the purpose of the secondary sources, it contextualize like it interpretations and the analysis and a broader understanding. What do I mean by contextualizations? Contextualization meaning like the secondary source provide the necessary context for the primary data. They synthesize information to offer us a wider understanding of a particular events or ideas. What about interpretations and analysis? This is just self-explanatory because it helps researchers make sense of the primary material by providing expert commentary and comparative analysis. Then broader understanding. Secondary source helps situate specific events or piece of data within larger social, cultural, or historical framework, providing a fuller pictures. And also, let's see the roles of the secondary sources. We see that secondary sources support or critiques the use of primary source, and also it interprets the primary data, guide researchers in framing their own question. Let's go and see the pro and cons of the secondary source. We are comparing like the pro, meaning advantage. You see that the pro of secondary sources are like provide critical analysis and a comprehensive overview, and also connect the dots between different pieces of primary evidence, and also it makes it easy to access and understand than the raw primary data. This means that secondary sources help us to interpret and analyze information than the primary source, which give you the raw data and which it is very difficult for you also to understand, but secondary sources make it easier for you to understand. Now the disadvantage is in that way that it can introduce misinterpretation in a way that it will be difficult also for someone to get the information correctly from another person. Secondly, there is a second-hand account, so that they lack the immediacy and the authenticity of the primary sources. Now, in conclusion, we see that secondary sources interpret and analyze the primary sources and offering a broader context or critiques or synthesize the information. They are indispensable for a robust and nuisance and understanding, and researchers use this in tandem to support their works. Thank you for watching my channel. Please like, subscribe, and hit on the red bell to be informed, like you get any notification if I've uploaded any videos online. Thank you for watching.